almost like the Flashpoint, where it starts, one of the key matrix lines that will help shatter this status centralized system.
Welcome, friends, again to Flashpoint Radio. I am your host, Jay-Z. As always, thank you for joining me. It is Wednesday, May 9th, 2012, and we are going to get right into the news this evening. We've got a lot of stories to look at. Please look at them yourself. Links to the articles in the description below. Do your own research. Find the links. Find the web. Go in your own direction. Knowledge should be gained on your own. Don't look to me or anyone else to give you knowledge of the truth. The truth should be found inside. The truth is inside you. You just have to open your eyes to see it. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Flashpoint Radio. And on Facebook, facebook.com/Flashpoint Radio. Subscribe to this video feed to get updates and new episodes. Like these videos if you like them, please, and then reshare them with your friends so we can start to wake up those that we love and care about. We're going to start this evening dealing with a few stories that we dealt with earlier last week on Flashpoint Radio. The article, the story about Minnesota police officers, state patrolmen drugging Occupy protesters. Look back on the list of Flashpoint Radios to watch the story. But from Infowars.com, police admit to drugging Occupy Wall Street protesters, suspend program. It says the Minnesota Department of Public Safety issued a press release today announcing the suspension of a drug recognition program conducted by the Minnesota State Patrol. Of course, they only did this after the program was exposed earlier this month by activists and members of Communities United Against Police Brutality in Minneapolis. Before the press release, before they admitted this and before they backed off, Eric Roski, a State Patrol public information officer, said, quote, "There's been no evidence or information that has been presented to us that would substantiate any of these allegations." Of course, that gets thrown out into the media, and then this happens and no one hears anything about it. But a victory for information. So please, this is what spreading this kind of information does. It gets the word out there and holds people in power accountable. Another story that we covered on, I believe it was Monday, about the re-education camp manual. No, on Friday of last week. The re-education camp manual, document FM3-39.40, internment and resettlement operations, link to the full PDF below. A Fort Leonard Wood, Go Missouri Public Affairs Director Tiffany Wood responded to an email from a concerned info warrior, and she said, quote, "The document was not intended for public release. Quote, any other questions regarding the document, you will need to follow a Freedom of Information Act request." So yes, this is an admission that that document was real. Of course, she said that it did not deal with domestic groups and did not pertain to the military working domestically, when in fact, the document itself specifically states that it is to be used and can be used domestically as long as there is a presidential executive order suspending posse comitatus or an act of Congress. So yes, that document is real. Please go to Infowars.com. They are breaking it. They are following this very closely. Their reporters are putting out articles multiple times a day regarding this. It is very important that you get this to everybody. Send it to your local news stations, especially in Missouri. This comes out of Fort Leonard Wood. Those of you in Kansas City, please forward these articles, forward these videos to people at all of your local television stations. If they know about it, then don't put it on the news. Then they're complicit. If we don't let them know and they don't report on it, then they can't be held responsible. But if they see it, if you know they have it in front of their face and they then refuse to cover this, they are complicit in the lies because they are part of the trickle-down media, as I like to say. Moving right along to a story from Monday about that underwear bomber part 2, where the CIA foiled a plot. Turns out, this from the Washington Post, CIA unraveled bomb plot from within. So for the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about the FBI domestically using infiltrators and pushing extremists towards terrorist actions in order to make the public fearful of terrorism and to make the government look like A, the victim, and B, the savior. Well, it looks like the latest al-Qaeda plot bomb targeting U.S. aircraft was unraveled from within, inside the terrorist group, by operatives, including a double agent who posed as the suicide bomber, working on behalf of the CIA and its counterparts in Saudi Arabia and Yemen. And go figure. Then they decided they say the CIA tracked the bomb's movements and there was no danger to anyone. For weeks they tracked it, and then they killed suspected plotters in a drone strike after the device was seized. So this is the new tactic. No longer do we simply capture them, torture them, keep them sequestered in Guantanamo. Now we just kill them. Or we say we killed them because we have no proof of that. So yes, it is an internal sting operation. Who knows if it was real? Who knows what actually went on? But, of course, they prepped us with the news 10 days ago, and then they released this. So it's clearly political. But guess who? Guess what? Guess what, Mark Levin? It is not Obama doing this. It is the government, okay? Not the Democrats, not the liberals, not the progressives. The government. The government is doing this. It's called continuity of agenda. They've been doing it for decades. We're going to move right along to some other stories that deal with youth around the world and how great our youth is, how great our government and organizations care about our youth. From CNSnews.com, Bolathon Group touts raising funds for 14-year-olds abortion. Yes, the National Network of Abortion Funds last month raised over $400,000 for abortions through its Bolathon. And then they touted that it provided money for a 14-year-old's abortion as part of the group's, quote, real stories of abortion access. Well, a quote from this 14-year-old, Darcy, she said, quote, I'm pretty smart for 14, I think. I love biology, especially the stuff on animals. Well, if you're so smart, then why are you having unprotected sex, or sex for that matter, at 14? That seems like a pretty stupid move by a 14-year-old, okay? So I don't think you're very smart, but she said, quote, getting my abortion means I'm going to get a second chance and I want to make it count. So she is very thankful for these baby-killing abortion pushers for paying for her abortion. And the one thing, well, is that actually her mother actually knew about it, when in many states they're trying to pass laws so that minors don't even have to tell their parents when they have an abortion. Oh, how we love our children in this country and in the world. And speaking of loving children in the world, from across the pond in jolly old England, the Telegraph reports Rockdale grooming trial. Police knew about sex abuse in 2002 but failed to act. Well, it turns out that in 2002 there was a report, in 2002 and in 2005 and later, sexual abuse victims reported to authorities in England that they were being raped repeatedly by men. These were all white underage women who were being repeatedly raped, sometimes 5 times a day, and by groups of up to 20 men constantly. And well, the one part about it is the police did not do anything because, of course, they didn't want to feel and they didn't want to appear racist. Yes. Police fears of being branded racist left grooming gang free to abuse teenage girls for 2 years. And no, now, later as this story has broken, it is not 2 years, but it is 10 years. Take a picture, and I'll tell you, who doesn't want to appear racist? The police who didn't act on this? Or maybe the British media who state, well, this was an Asian gang. Look at the pictures of these gentlemen. Abdul Qayyum, Muhammad Amin, Abdul Aziz. Now, when you say Asian, now these men may be from technically an Asian part of the world, but are these the pictures of men you would associate with Asian people, with an Asian gang? No, they are, of course, Asian Islamist. So they are still, even though they are quoting that the police would not act because they felt they would be branded as racist, they did not come out and say in their headlines that it was an Islamist gang or a Middle Eastern gang. No, they stated Asian. So anyone just reading and not actually viewing the pictures of these gentlemen would think that they were Japanese, Chinese, Korean, or someone of a traditional Asian descent. But no, these gentlemen were raping girls and pimping these girls out for a decade. Every one of these girls was a white young female. And well, this is what political correctness gets you in this world, okay? This is what not being able to call a spade gets you in this world. If you're an Islamist rapist, then say you're an Islamist rapist. And guess what, police? If you get a report of anybody raping girls, how about you follow up no matter who did it? I don't care if they're yellow, pink, blue, if they're from the moon, if they're underwater, or if they're Smurfs. How about you follow up? And I get so upset when it involves children because so many people claim that they're here to protect the children when in fact our government, organizations, and usually charity organizations are the ones that are behind the abuse of our children in this world. Wake up, people. It is your job to protect your children. It is your job to keep your children safe. Not the government's, not a church, not anyone. Your job. You have children. It is your responsibility to make sure they are safe. And if you're a family member of a child that comes to you with something like this, then it falls on your shoulders. Okay? No more are we going to say we didn't do anything because we didn't know what to say. Nah, these are dumb excuses. Dumb excuses. Oh, this one quote from this article as we close. Muslim leader warns that some British Pakistani men think that white teenage girls are worthless and can be abused without a second thought. So yes, who are the second-class citizens? Who is being abused? Is it minorities now? Or maybe it's now white people? Because white people have had so much guilt that shouldn't be on their shoulders that now they allow things like this to happen. I can't even stand it anymore. So that's what we have to look forward to in this country. Pedophile rings operating with the police knowledge of them for 10 years. Abortion groups paying for 14-year-olds to get abortions while they think that they're smart and they get a second chance through this. This is what the world has come to, people. And I'm sorry for bringing these horrible stories at you, but this is reality, okay? There is good in this world, and you should hold on to it, and you should recognize it. But you have to recognize good and evil, or you are not living in reality. Jay-Z signing off for Flashpoint Radio saying, keep your eyes to the sky, and God bless all of you.
Dream with the feathers of angels stuck beneath your head. No regulator, swinging pendulum.